Again, I'm Jennifer InfertilityMom Saake, trying to memorize the entire Gospel of John with brain injury. Started it as brain training, praising God for causing it to be heart training for me. I'm currently in chapter 6 of the Gospel of John, and my verse today was verse 11. So I will try it, and then I will read it and see how close I got. Jesus then took the loaves, and after having given thanks, distributed them to those who were seated, and also, no, it's a single word. Kind of means also, and I don't remember the word. Something of the fish, and also of the fish, as much as they wanted. That was my blind attempt at John chapter 6, verse 11. So let's go in and see who actually is. John 6:11 says, Jesus then took the loaves, and having given thanks, he distributed them to those who were seated. Likewise, that was that word I was trying to remember. Likewise, also of the fish, as much as they wanted. So I'm going to start at John 6, verse 1, and see if I can go all the way through verse 11. Let me see. After these things, Jesus went away. After these things, Jesus went away again to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, or Tiberias. And a large crowd was following him, having seen the signs which he had done on those who were sick. And he went up on the mountain, and was sitting down with his disciples. And the Passover, the feast of the Jews, was near. Therefore, Jesus lifting up his eyes and seeing that a large crowd was coming toward him, asked Philip, "Where should we buy bread so that these people may eat?" But he said this to test him, for he himself knew what he was going to do. And Philip answered, 200 denarii worth of bread would not be sufficient for them, for everyone to receive a little. And one of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "There is a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, but what are these for so many people?" And Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." Now there was much grass in the place, and the men sat down in number about 5,000. And Jesus took the loaves, and having given thanks, distributed them to those who were seated, likewise of the fish, as much as they wanted. That was John chapter 6, verses 1 through 11. Now I'm going to read them, and we're going to see how close I got. John 6, 1 through 11. After these things, Jesus went away to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, or Tiberias. Now a large crowd was following him, because they were seeing the signs which he was doing on those who were sick. Then Jesus went up on the mountain, and there he was sitting down with his disciples. Now the Passover, the feast of the Jews, was near. Therefore Jesus, lifting up his eyes and seeing that a large crowd was coming to him, said to Philip, "Where should we buy bread so that these people may eat?" And this he was saying to test him, for he himself knew what he was going to do. Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread is not sufficient for them, for everyone to receive a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "There is a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, but what are these for so many people?" Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." Now there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down in number about 5,000. Jesus then took the loaves, and having given thanks, he distributed them to those who were seated. Likewise also of the fish, pardon me, likewise also of the fish, as much as they wanted. And the chapter goes on, and when they were filled, he said to the disciples, gather up the leftover pieces so that nothing will be lost. So they gathered them up and filled 12 baskets with pieces of the 5 barley loaves left over by those who had eaten. Therefore, when the people saw the sign which he had done, they were saying, this is truly the prophet who is to come into the world. So Jesus, knowing that they were going to come and take him by force to make him king, withdrew again to the mountain by himself alone. And the next section that I'll be working on next week is all about the miracle of how Jesus walked on the water and proved his deity, explaining Psalm 89:9, which says, you rule the swelling of the sea. When its waves rise, you still them. And Psalm 107:23-29, which also talks about Yahweh's power over the sea. And Jesus demonstrated that when he walked on the water, when he stilled the storm. So that's the passage I'll be working on next week. My shirt is from the Bible Memory Goal community. I'm a member of that amazing message board community of other people who are also working on scripture memory, whether it's a single verse, whether it's a single topic with multiple individual verses, whether it's a passage, like maybe the Sermon on the Mount, or whether it's a chapter of a book, or whether it's a whole book. I have been memorizing for a little over 5 years now. It all started by watching a Call to Scripture Memory YouTube by Susan Hackley from With the Master Ministries. And I went into it very prideful, very curious to see what she was doing, and in no way thinking it would impact my life. And that one video God used to be life-changing for me and started the whole process. I started with the book of Jude, which the whole book is just 25 verses. And I went in pridefully wanting bragging rights to be able to tell people that I had memorized an entire book of the Bible. And God has just done really amazing things in my heart. And at this point, I know that I am not going to get the entire book of John word perfect, but I want to get his content accurate. And hopefully, Lord willing, within 3 years, have internalized the entire book so that I am quite familiar, so I can even be my own concordance cross-referencing within the book to know how one passage impacts another within that book. So that's my current goal, and thanks for coming along with me during chapter 6. I have never gone at this memory pace before. I've been like my first memory was 25 verses, took me like 4 or 5 months, so maybe I was memorizing about 5 verses a month initially. And then I got to be like 1 to 3 verses a week, and then 3 to 5 verses a week. And now I have been running at about 3 to 7 verses a week, depending on the week and the length of verses and what else is happening in my life. But for 6 weeks, I am doing a 71 verse chunk. And Lord willing, I will learn every passage. I will internalize every passage in John chapter 6 for the end of February. So that is my goal, and I appreciate you coming along with me on the journey, and I hope you'll cheer me along in the process, and also pray about what God might have you do with his word, whether it's to read it more consistently, to commit to memorize a verse, but I'd also encourage you to go on YouTube and search for A Call to Scripture Memory by Susan Peck with the Master. That video was truly life-changing for me in my perspective. So, like I said, I went into this very prideful, very much with just the aspect of wanting cognitive help, brain training, and because of brain injury. And I do see some benefits from that, some significant benefits. But the way it's knocked down my pride, the way it's made me come face to face with some of my own sins, the way that God continues to change me because of His word is just astounding. And I would encourage you to give it a try for yourself, and also come check out Bible Memory Goal, the community. And I'm also Jennifer InfertilityMom there as well. So if you come there because you saw me here, please say hi. Thank you, and have a great evening. God bless you. Bye bye. See you tomorrow.